talk about, well, it's not going to be Hail Bob. We're going to talk about notability. This is kind of a difficult topic to talk about because it's so ambiguous. What is notoriety? What does it actually mean? And believe it or not, I know you're going to find this hard to believe. There's probably, oh no, I know for sure, there is a Wikipedia instructional manual on what is notoriety and what is not. And you can sit and read the whole thing and you'll still be left maybe scratching your head. It gives you a lot of detail. I'm not going to even show you the page that explains all the detail of how you know if something's notable or not, because I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to know if something's notable or not. And keep in mind that it is still a guideline and sometimes the rules get bent a little bit. So why am I showing you the Hail Bob comments here? Well, it's because I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes and I don't really have anything to show you at this exact second, and I wanted to have something interesting for you to look at on the screen while I was talking to you. So bear with me. Okay, so notability is sometimes hard to prove because it doesn't matter how famous something is or if it has thousands of YouTube followers or if it is a published book or if it is a TV show. It is not notable unless people make it notable by writing about it, by referring to it, by asking its opinion of other things. Because really what it comes down to it, they're just people, places, incidents, organizations, but because we give it some authority, because we give it the notoriety, because that person's written books or whatever, that's what makes it notable. Boy, that was pretty vague, wasn't it? Let's take a couple examples. So, an average teenager or middle schooler in, let's say, Texas is not famous for anything, right? Okay, let's say that teenager does something and makes the news. Okay, that's great. Well, even if it is not a popular thing, then if the news is reporting on what happened and other news agencies report on what happened and maybe the child's interviewed and so on, that's going to make it notable. So not necessarily the child is notable, but the incident, and that's what I'm talking about, is the clock boy. If you put in clock boy, you don't even need to know his name. And this is him right here. So look at the size of this Wikipedia page. It's massive. It's all about the incident. This is what happened with the clock boy. Look at this. Oh my goodness, 75 citations. Everybody went nuts. People reporting on what happened, people's opinions on what happened, the person himself, what did the parents say? It was nuts. So this is about the incidents that happened with this child. And so this is notable. Even though, relatively speaking, a kid gets in trouble for taking a box of parts to school and all that happened, this it's really not really all that important in the bigger scheme of things. But this guy's got a bigger Wikipedia page than the guy who discovered Hail Bob, right? Okay, the comet. But for some reason, he's got 75 citations. That's because everybody and their brother and their sister went and made it notable. So in your history working with GSoW, especially at the beginning, I really don't want you writing Wikipedia pages from scratch. There's a couple reasons. First off is because of notability. It's very difficult sometimes to prove notability. You have to find the proof to be able to have the Wikipedia page. I mean, you can run it past us and we can say, well, whatever. A lot of podcasts are not notable, even though they have a ton of listeners. They're not notable because they don't have other people who are notable writing about them in notable places. Maybe that helps a little, explain it a little bit more. Same thing with some books. People can come out with a book, and if it sold 1,000 copies, okay, maybe it's notable if somebody writes about it, reviews it, and the person who reviewed it is a notable person and writing about it in a notable place. You know, maybe the People magazine or Times magazine or the New York Times or something like that. What I'd rather you did, until you really got a handle on what is notable, what is not, is to start working on some Wikipedia pages for that are already have Wikipedia pages, but they're in just really awful shape. In other words, a rewrite. So you can pick anything that's a stub or just is in pretty bad shape. Here's somebody who I picked at random to be able to show you. This is just a little bit better than a stub. It needs to be expanded. It's been sitting here since April of 2014 waiting for somebody to pick it up on Wikipedia. How embarrassing is that? This is probably a pretty good, very important guy. I'm sure he's, done some really amazing things, and yet he is sitting here waiting for someone to take him the Wikipedia page seriously. It looks okay, but it could be a lot longer, I'm sure. Here is a documentary television series called Naked Science. And this has been sitting here since February 2009, and it is horrible. It's a stub that nobody cares about, and since 2009, people still haven't cared about it. Now, how does it have a Wikipedia page? Well, that's a good question. Back in the days when Wikipedia was started, what was that, 2001? January 2001, something like that. They didn't have the rules that they have now. People could create Wikipedia pages, and it got past the bots and the people looking to see what was notable and what is not. So a page like this, if this was created today, it probably would be flagged and not be notable, and whoever did all the work on this would probably have the page deleted. So, that's a lot of work. But right now it's just sitting here because it's just being ignored. It may totally be notable. Then again, it might not be notable at all. And just because it has seasons, that doesn't make it notable. Has anybody who is notable written about it or talked about it somewhere in a way that would prove its notability? I don't know. Somebody could look into it. Here's another one. This is a radio show called This Week in Science, and I've heard this. Kiki Stanford, we've written her Wikipedia page, or rewritten it, I mean, and this page has been here since January 2013, waiting for someone to come over and improve it. Here's the references they have right there, and it is in bad need of repair. So I would prefer if you rewrote a Wikipedia page instead of creating a new Wikipedia page. For the reasons that we've had several people spend an awful lot of time working on a Wikipedia page they created from scratch, and then it's deleted, or you have to fight for it, or they start writing it and they realize this isn't notable. It's pretty sad. You start working on a Wikipedia page, you put weeks into it or days into it, and then you go, well, this person is not notable. And Lord, if that person found out that you were trying to write their Wikipedia page and then they found out that they're not notable enough, can you imagine how that would make you feel? That would make you feel pretty awful, wouldn't it? So, don't waste your time trying to start something new when there's so many pages that are in really, really bad shape. If you did decide you wanted to create a Wikipedia page, I would ask that you come up with at least 3 citations that are notable. That means that they are mentioned in the New York Times, or as a book. Maybe a book got on the New York Times bestseller list, or somebody wrote a newspaper article about them or their project. and in a newspaper that probably has a Wikipedia page, or a person who has a Wikipedia page wrote the article. Try to find 3 strong citations. Those citations you're trying to find should have nothing to do with that person or that place or that project or that podcast or whatever. Not their website. Their website is not an indicator of notability. You can't use a blog to prove notability. It needs to be notable. Generally, that means that it has an editor, a reputable editor. Like, you couldn't use a National Enquirer. You could use Skeptic Magazine. You could use Skeptical Inquirer Magazine. You could use Time Magazine. You could use most newspapers. You can't use Huffington Post. You can't use the Examiner.com. They need to be like Scientific American or something like that. So probably you want to start out by finding the citations that prove the notability before you start going into a lot of trouble to start writing the page. Okay, that's just a general rule. So while you're starting out in GSoW, I'd rather you work on pages that are like these, that there's just tons and tons of these on this long list of pages that need to be rewritten, that are just sitting here waiting for somebody to come and take them on. Lay midwifery, power plate, religious skepticism, the One TV program, Marfa Lights, Men in White, Monster Talk, Astronomy Cast, extrasensory perception in animals, the IIG, Health Freedom, Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Look at this. These are all Wikipedia pages that are just sitting waiting for someone to come and eventually please help them out. They really badly need your attention, and that's where I would prefer you to focus your attention. It's like adopting a kitten instead of that's from a shelter. Instead of going and having somebody breed a kitten or a dog for you, a purebred dog or something like that. Let's take on these and get this list cleared up. Look at me, I'm still scrolling, and I didn't even start at the top. So if you could be so inclined to do that, I would really appreciate it. Okay? Have a really great day. Find something, improve it. If you really, really, really want to work on a brand new page, some of you out there are like that. They just want to start with something fresh they did. Then okay, go ahead and do it. But look, the Vanishing Hitchhiker, the Choking Doberman, and the Baby Train are all sitting here waiting, wondering why they've just been abandoned and nobody loves them. And somebody could love them. They could be so happy. Please, please, please. Thank you.